Damn, son, where'd you find this?
The Spicy Bride Show.
Hello and welcome to episode 1 of The Spicy Bride Show. Just introduction first. This is the official tripod that is the Spicy Bride Project, and my name is Amelia Sargent, which I'm still getting used to saying.
2020 bride, dancer, performer, and choreographer extraordinaire with a heavy bias towards weddings, and I teach virtual fitness.
I'm Katie Wiencek. So full-time, I run a wholesale apparel agency in the West Loop. So we do a lot of fashion forecasting, a lot of stuff with apparel and trends coming up. We're a great resource for helping all of our brides to get ready for their big day costume-wise.
And I am Melissa Johnson, 2020 bride, also 2021 bride, due to all of the fun that COVID has brought into our lives this year. And we kind of all came to be because Katie, as my cousin, was in my wedding, and Amelia, fellow 2020 bride. We all kind of linked up and said, hey, this is all happening to us at once, and what should we do about it from here? So welcome everyone to our little show that we have.
Exactly. So to give you a little background about Spicy Bride, I found myself in the middle, between all these conversations with the two of you specifically, all the stressors and the big decisions that had to be made. And it just seemed like me being the middleman, trying to, call Amelia and see what she was doing about her website, and call Melissa and see what she was doing about her dress. And there just had to be a better way to share information than through text messages and multiple phone calls.
Another friend of yours, and we just kept rolling into all these brides that were struggling. And by the way, our nature is just to help and collaborate and be like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? And really all we've done here is formalized it. So
right. This is our solution-oriented approach to our pandemic brides because, like we've been talking about, everyone's plans have changed in some way or another or are about to be affected as you begin your planning process. So,
and there's no playbook for this scenario. When you are planning, a normal wedding, there's all these blog posts, examples, wedding planners, and there's no back in May or March, even you search how to plan a COVID safe shower. Nothing existed. No one knew the correct way to go. And with all the, rules changing every week or people's comfortability levels, we really found that, we were all searching for help and it wasn't there. And so we really came together on our own and linked up people we knew and figured that, all of you guys could be benefiting from that help as well. And, we all are here to help each other through it and
helping to create it and helping to find solutions for everyone for all of these really unique issues and struggles that people are having and big decisions that they're making. I think, a question that I get asked a lot is, what the heck does Spicy Bride mean? What is that? Because that's a really interesting word. And it's a funny story to give you some insight. So during one of our coffee walk chats, Amelia and I were walking her little puppy Glover. And he's all excited, we're walking to the dog park and he's, barking at his new friend. And Amelia said, ooh, sorry, Glover's being a little spicy today. And we both stopped and looked at each other and we're like, Spicy Bride, and that's how Spicy Bride Project name became.
Yeah, and I love that the two of you brought up really good things that I think our listeners would benefit from. And one, first, let's start with spicy, which a pandemic certainly does spice things up, but it's not very fun to keep talking about. We're all living through it. So how can we turn that and make it positive? Variety is the spice of life, spice up your life. And so the spicy just kept kind of being that right answer somehow. And it just made us laugh. But as far as the shower, Melissa, you bring up the shower and that we were all like, how does one do this now? Because there isn't a playbook, to your point. So you guys actually went through this process and worked really closely together to pull this off. And for the listeners, kind of set us up and talk through some really actionable items that you guys did and kind of strategically planned. Because I know there was so much that went into this.
Yeah, I mean, I will toss it over to Katie because she planned it with my sister and my mom, and Katie's mom kind of took everything over. And I was completely blown away by it. I think when we were originally planning my shower, we had knew the location was going to stay where it ended up being. But I don't think we had anything really set in stone because it wasn't supposed to be until May. And so when we had to keep pushing it back, we were able to kind of pivot without having to, cancel contracts or do any of that logistically. But I'll let Katie kind of take it away.
Well, the three of us are all in Chicago, and one of the frustrating things about Chicago and all of these COVID and pandemic situations were that the rules were changing day to day. And one day we were allowed to have 50 people, the next day it was 10 people, then it was mass, and there were just so many question marks and so many unknowns that what we had to do as this planning team for Melissa was understand exactly what was really important to her, and kind of go back to those values or those tenets and try to keep as much of the stress away from her as we possibly could, because she was dealing with all of the other real wedding day stuff. So how in my brain and our planning team brain were we able to present to her and give her the best product given our circumstances. So some things that were really important to Melissa were that everyone felt comfortable in the space, and that there was enough airflow, enough room for people to spread out, that we were being as COVID compliant as, the rules were structured for us to be in terms of food and guest lists, so we had some things where we bought a temporal thermometer, and we were checking temperatures from everyone when they came in. Everyone was required to wear a mask. We set up a really fun photo booth because, one of the things that Melissa loves are pictures and memories and being able to look back at those things. So we thought, if we're not able to do that with the bride and groom in real life, I created these awesome cardboard cutouts of the bride and groom, and then people were able to still get that shower photo, that step and repeat photo at the event, and able to have that memory and for the scrapbook and all of that. And another thing, that we thought about is making sure that all of our guests left that shower and that event feeling really positive. So something that we thought of was doing a flower bar. So the guests at some point, during our afternoon, during our shower, walked over to the flower bar and were able to pick and choose their little flower bouquet. And that was a great takeaway, and something that, for days and even like a week or two after, I was getting messages that people their flowers were still alive and they were able to look at it and remember this really fun event in this crazy time. Because honestly, Melissa, in our family, that was one of the only events that happened. We had babies being born, and other life events, birthdays, all that, and we weren't able to celebrate. So this was, for a lot of reasons, really important that we made this a memorable, positive experience for our guests and our family and your new family too.
I think people's stress level went down when they saw that we were going above and beyond. We were able to kind of calm people's nerves, and we had people who didn't come. And I think it's very important that if you have guests who are not comfortable coming to your event, or are pregnant and can't attend, or are high risk, or work, essential work, do not be offended by that. Like, you need to give them the space and the grace to say, I'm not comfortable, I'm not able to attend this event. Or people who came early for 5 minutes and, got their flowers to take home and weren't comfortable staying. And, the day obviously is about you, you're the bride, but it's not, you can't expect everyone to fall in line with, this is not a normal event, a normal time. So just expect and appreciate people's different boundaries that they have for different events at this time.
And one of the things that helped us, and Melissa, a lot of these back end conversations you weren't a part of, like specifically for a reason, because we were trying to remove all of those stressors from you. But what we decided was we were going to go by the CDC guidelines. We were going to go by the guidelines that the Illinois Department of Health had said. And regardless if our guests were attending other events where there were loopholes or they told them they could take their masks off, we were really strict and firm, and as a planning team said, this is, we have to set the precedent, we have to set the example, and we have to just follow